welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news, and update show. It looks like Manchester United are getting prepared to spend. Manchester United are having meetings with Carrick over January business, and there's even reports that a deal for one midfielder is close. Although, how credible are those reports? Manchester United now considering movement in the January window, and look. If I'm Man United, I go all out and see if I can get an Elliot Anderson or see if I can get a Baleba and test the waters. I don't know if Man United will do that. I think it will more likely be a loan. Please don't be Ruben Loftus-Cheek. But there's links to João Gomez, there's links to Ruben Neves, there's links to a number of players. I also want to talk about Michael Carrick and some of the changes that Michael Carrick is making at Manchester United, which I really like. And so far I've been very impressed with Michael Carrick. But Arsenal's a completely different test, and I'm hoping that City wasn't a one-off. We're also going to talk about other news involving the ex-pros and Lisandro Martinez and more. So listen, people, if you do enjoy today's live stream, feel free to hit that like button. You're welcome to subscribe if you're new. Get your thoughts in the comments down below. But let's get into the news, and thank you for tuning in. I am doing pretty good today. Look, I'm in a good mood. We battered Man City. We battered Man City. We're in 5th. Everyone dropped points. Arsenal dropped points. City got battered. Liverpool dropped points to Burnley. I mean, I don't really care about Tottenham, but they're dropping points. Don't really care about Newcastle. That's competition. They're dropping points. Everyone is dropping points. I mean, Chelsea didn't drop points, but I don't know if I'm scared of them. I don't know. I just feel good. But I know I could be sitting here next week in an absolute mood because we did amazing versus City. I don't think we beat Arsenal. Arsenal at home have battered Bayern Munich. They've battered Atletico Madrid. We've gone from playing Max Allegri and Kusanov, and now Kusanov was fantastic, by the way, to Gabriel and Saliba. If you look at City's backline compared to Arsenal's backline, night and day. You look at the Emirates, how it's a fortress, night and day. You look at the fact that Old Trafford was amazing in the 12th man. I am worried for Arsenal. So my mood could be very different next week. But you know what? When we lost to Arsenal under Ruben Amorim, I wasn't that fussed because I said, look, it was a decent performance and I saw some positive signs, and then Amorim then put in a load of rubbish performances. But hopefully we can do something. Nice to see Garnacho miss. Yeah, I mean, Chelsea won, but Garnacho missed an open goal. And Garnacho was getting hyped up midweek for 2 goals and then misses an open goal at the weekend. So Garnacho slander was back on the timeline. So it was a good week, and we're 5th. But look, let's talk about the news, because to make me in a better mood, make some January signings, eh? Well, make good January signings. Don't make any old January signing. The United hierarchy and Michael Carrick are going to have a meeting this week to decide what they would do in the transfer window. Carrick will have a voice in the decision. United are focused on identifying the right opportunities. So, and this is one interesting thing about Ruben Amorim, because Ruben Amorim in December and November kept saying he didn't want to do January transfer business unless it was the right player. Ruben Amorim kept saying, I don't want signings in January unless it's the right player, unless it's someone that he wants. And then he started complaining that INEOS weren't going to do anything in January. And I agree with Ruben. The fact that they weren't going to do anything in January was criminal. But Ruben Amorim made that very clear. I don't want signings unless it's the right signing, which I think is INEOS' stance. They don't want to sign anyone in January unless they feel it's the right player. So many of someone they would have signed in the summer. We needed a left winger, so they were open to doing that in January. But I do think you have to look at opportunities. If there's someone that might be a bit more expensive in January, but you can get them in January and not wait till the summer, it's worth doing it because we need to get Champions League football. Let's say there's a really good midfielder out there that's 70 million quid, but would be 55 million in the summer. You spend that 17 million quid because you think if you get Champions League football, the extra 15 million pound would be worth it. Do you know what I mean? So I want us to do business. I want us to make signings. I want us to make the right signings, but I want us to show some ambition and push for good signings, to be honest. Alice, the secret midfielder is not Loftus-Cheek good. Goldbridge even said he knows who it is, but we'll let Ben Jacobs break the news. It's not Loftus-Cheek. It's only a loan deal and a kind of injury-prone player. So probably Sakaria then? What? Loftus-Cheek is injury-prone. I reckon that'd be maybe Sakaria then, if it's a kind of injury-prone player. I mean, we'll talk about that. So basically, Going into the news. The United hierarchy and Michael Carrick are going to have a meeting this week to decide what they'll do in the transfer window. Carrick will have a voice in the decision. United are focusing on identifying their opportunities. So, Romano said the hierarchy are now looking and seeing if there's anything we can do in the transfer window. Maybe that's left wing, maybe that's midfield, who knows. What we do know from Ben Jacobs was this. Man United have held talks with a secret midfielder in the last 24 hours. It will be for a loan until the end of the season. He has Premier League experience and is currently playing outside England. So he's in Europe. He used to be in the Premier League, and it's a player that could be available on loan. So my assumption would be Sakaria, if someone is saying it's an injury-prone player. That would be my assumption. However, he said it wasn't Ruben Neves, Ben Jacobs. But what's interesting is there's now reports coming out that a deal for Ruben Neves is close. There has been speculation about potential changes to his squad, with one report suggesting a deal for former Wolves skipper Ruben Neves is close. There is reports that a deal for Ruben Neves to Man United is very close, but Ruben Neves is not the player Ben Jacobs was talking about. Ramona says there's a meeting. With Carrick, we're looking at opportunities. Ben Jacobs said we had talk about bringing in a secret midfielder on loan, who is not Ruben Neves, who's injury-prone and does have Premier League experience. Now there's reports coming out that we're close to a deal for Ruben Neves. So it looks like maybe Manchester United is secretly, actively doing something in the market. You know, I don't think it'll be Ndidi. I thought it was Neves from the jump, but then Ben Jacobs said it wasn't Neves. Neves on loan would be the perfect signing. I would take Neves on loan, but he said no one from Saudi. I don't want Eric Dyer. You know what Højbjerg has been? I'm not gonna lie. Højbjerg has been very good this season. He's actually very good on the ball. I actually don't think Højbjerg's that bad of a player, but he's playing a lot for Marseille, and Marseille are having a very good season. I don't think Marseille would be selling Højbjerg or loaning out Højbjerg when he starts nearly all their games. So I don't think it would be Højbjerg. But there's a lot of guess who it is. I mean, my mind says Sakaria. You know, James Garner is in the Premier League already. It's someone that's in Europe that is injury prone. So you could say Paul Pogba, who used to play in the Premier League, that we're looking at that could be available on loan. Who knows? Sorry, Alice. Carrick will have a voice. Yeah, right. The board will say we are buying such and such, and Carrick will say yes, sir, thanks. I mean, yeah, I agree. But I think that's how it should be. If Carrick is interim manager, the board aren't buying for Carrick. They should bring in someone that Carrick would use, because there's no point bringing in someone in January if Carrick's not going to use him, because you might as well wait till the summer to bring that player in. Sakaria played for Chelsea. Like, believe it or not, Sakaria played for Chelsea. I think the way to be is INEOS are going to bring in a midfielder that they rate, because at the end of the day, Michael Carrick isn't going to be here next season, so they've got to bring in a midfielder that they rate. But it's got to be someone they know Michael Carrick would play, because there's no point. You might as well bring him in the summer if Michael Carrick doesn't like him. So I get it's not going to be about Michael Carrick's voice. It's going to be about what the board want, but they're going to make sure Michael Carrick would use him. But I actually think that's the way it should be. I think, look, if Carrick was the full-time manager and Carrick had been given a 3-year contract like Ruben Amorim had last year, then it has to be someone that Carrick wants. But if Carrick is interim, it's got to be someone that Carrick will use, but it will be very beneficial for whoever next comes in the door. So that's why if we sign Baleba and Carrick's like, I don't mind, it doesn't matter, because it's like any manager that comes to Man United would probably use Baleba. Do you know what I mean? So I think in terms of what United want to do, it's got to be a midfielder that any manager that walks in is like, that midfielder's good. But look, I think it's a panic loan in January. I think it's a panic loan in January. I think the permanent midfield signings happen in the summer. I think if we sign anyone in January, it's not going to be anyone exciting. No, Hayden Hackney, James Garner, they're going to cost around £20 million at the highest. James Garner's Prem proven, could probably play more as a 6. Hayden Hackney's probably better on the ball. James Garner's better off the ball. But that's 2 options there. But I think United don't want to do a 20 million deal. Don't want to do a low-cost investment like Hackney. I think it's a loan or a big name. Neves makes the most sense. He's played with Cunha and Bruno before. I mean, we were linked to Ndidi. In the summer. It wouldn't shock me, but apparently he's playing in Europe. So that'll be the interesting thing, because Turkey's technically part of Asia, not Europe. I mean, I would say Turkey's basically Europe, but I'm pretty sure Turkey's considered Asia. Let me Google that. What continent is Turkey? I'm pretty sure Turkey's considered Asia. Yeah. Turkey's situated in both Asia and Europe, but 97% Asia and 3% Europe. So if he says the player's playing in Europe, can it be indeed if he's playing in Turkey? Like if you Google it, it's 97% Asia, 3% Europe. Turkey's in Champions League, the Europa League. They play in the Euros, but Turkey isn't technically considered Europe, but it could be indeed. Because I would consider Turkey Europe, but technically it's not considered Europe. If Carrick beats Arsenal and fully on Carrick is permanent, nah. If Carrick beats Arsenal and demolishes them, I'm going to be like loving life, but I will judge Carrick at the end of the season. Carrick could win 8 games in a row and then lose the next 8 games in a row. You just don't know. So I'd judge him at the end of the season. Yeah, Turkey play in the Euros, but have you seen Eurovision? They got Israel in Eurovision. Israel's not in Europe. Azerbaijan's in Eurovision. That's not in Europe. You know, Turkey play in the Euros, but I feel like they're probably more Asia. But I guess it's like if you Google if Turkey's in Europe, most people say it's Asia. It's kind of the crossroad between Asia and Europe, and it is in the Euros. But what I was trying to say is Ben Jacobs said the player we're looking at plays in Europe, not Saudi. Turkey, I guess, is technically in Europe, but who knows for sure. Job has no Prem experience. It won't be Joe Bellingham. There's rumours that Joe Bellingham could be available on loan. Do you know who I like? It's Mecha of Dortmund. He won't be available. Mecha has been Dortmund's best player this season. He won't be available, but I like him. Azerbaijan is actually in Europe. Is it? I know that there's teams from Azerbaijan that play in Europe. Azerbaijan itself is surely Asia. Is Azerbaijan in Europe? Surely Azerbaijan is Asia. I thought maybe Azerbaijan is Europe. Maybe it is. I thought Azerbaijan would be Asia. They have a little bit of territory in Europe, but they're mostly Asia. Oh, so it's like Turkey. They're mostly Asia, but they've got a tiny bit of territory in Europe. Look at me. This is a geography lesson. Trying to figure out who the midfielder is. But so apparently, there's a secret midfielder. It's not Neves. It's not in Saudi. They're playing in Europe. They're injury prone, and United are looking at bringing him on loan. And he used to play in the Premier League. But now with meetings with Michael Carrick about potential people to bring in, which means that name could be revealed very soon. But then Ben Jacobs has said it's not Ruben Neves, and there's other reports coming out that Ruben Neves is close. So, Kazakhstan plays in the UEFA Champions League, but it's definitely Asia. Yeah, it's all confusing the geography. Yeah. Yeah, Kazakhstan's definitely Asia, but they play in the European comps. That's what makes it so confusing. Mecha's good. It won't be Mecha. I know that he was City Academy, but I don't think Felix Mecha, has played in the Premier League. Felix Mecha, I would take Felix Mecha of Dortmund in midfield. I think he's class. He's injury prone. I know he's a former City Academy player, but I don't think he made a Premier League debut. I don't think he's played in the Premier League. Let me see. Let me see if he's played in the Premier League. And also, I don't think Dortmund are going to sell probably their second best player this season. No, he's not played. He didn't play in the Premier League. He's played in Premier League 2. He played 5 minutes in the Champions League for City. And 45 minutes in the FA Cup for City. And then the following season, I think they sold him to the Bundesliga. So, no. Alice won't get any points guessing, let it be. I agree. We're just thinking, Rabiot's not played in the Prem, so it won't be Rabiot. I swear, the amount of times we're linked to Rabiot, though, oh my. But he's not played in the Prem. But continuing on, let's talk about other news. Let's talk about other stories, because we could be guessing this guy for ages. Now, I quite liked this from Carrick. Michael Carrick's coming across really likeable. I feel like every manager you bring in comes across really likeable until they start doing bad. But I like this from Carrick. In the aftermath of an uplifting Manchester derby win, Michael Carrick addressed his players in the home dressing room at Old Trafford and spoke with what was described as calm authority. It's really important we don't get carried away. It's one game. That level of performance needs to be normal. Thank you, Carrick. Was I getting carried away as a fan? Absolutely. Are my tweets going to age really badly if we go and lose the next few games? Absolutely. Are my videos going to age really badly if we go and lose the next few games? Absolutely. I was getting carried away. But I did say while getting carried away, on a real, we can't get carried away. Just enjoy the moment. Because this is one game. We battered City. It's one of the best performances I've ever seen. And it's very encouraging. But Arsenal are going to be 10 times harder than City. Because one, it's going to be at the Emirates. Two, they've not lost at the Emirates all season. They're a fortress there. They're 10 times better at home than away. And three, Max Alenia and Kusanov are not Saliba and Gabriel. Yeah? Rico Lewis is not Urian Timber. And Calafiore, whoever plays left back, is not Nathan Ake. Arsenal's defence is significantly better. Raya is good. Maybe he's not Donnarumma. Maybe you could say Donnarumma. Raya might not make those saves Donnarumma, but Raya's still an excellent keeper. We need to be on it versus Arsenal. I don't think we beat Arsenal. But if we go and beat Arsenal, that's a statement. We beat City, we beat Arsenal, we go and beat those two sides, that is a statement. Because we've not won at the Emirates in the league in ages. When did Man United last win at the Emirates in the league? Because I feel like the Jesse Lingard moonwalk wasn't even a league game. 2017. 2017 was the last time we won at Emirates in the league. We've beat them in the World Cup game, but that's when we won 3-1 in 2017, and it was because David De Gea saved the Titanic. Do you know the quote? David De Gea saved the Titanic or something. That's the last time we won at Emirates, when David De Gea put in some absolute masterclass performance. So, yeah, I mean, it's been 9 years. 9 years since we won a league game at the Emirates. Wow. So, if we win, that'd be mad. Maybe they might get a draw. I take a draw. I take a draw versus Arsenal any day long. Any day long. Let's be real. A draw at the Emirates would be a win. Yeah, a draw at the Emirates would be a win. It would be. I always say this. When we play Arsenal at Old Trafford, I back us to win. I know Arsenal beat us at the beginning of the season, but I've said this for years. We are so much better when we play Arsenal at home than Arsenal away. Our record versus Arsenal at home is very good. I know we lost to them under Amarin at home, but we actually played pretty well in that match, and our record versus Arsenal at home is very good. We normally do well versus Arsenal at home. Arsenal away is where we struggle. That would be a mad result. If Michael Carrick can do something, that would be a madness. We need to win. If we win and City win, then the gap on Arsenal at the top is 4 points. And that makes the league more interesting, because I think Arsenal currently have 7 points, but the gap could be 4 points if we win. And there's not much goal difference between Arsenal and City. I mean, City are lucky we didn't destroy their goal difference. We should have beat City 6-0. It was only 2-0. So if we go beat Arsenal and City win their next game, which surely they have to, then there's only 4 points between Arsenal and City, and then it gets it's getting a bit shaky at the top there, isn't it? I think Arsenal are going to win the league. Do you think Arsenal are the worst league winners ever? No, because I think the quality of the mid-table sides in the Premier League is stronger than ever before. From an aesthetic perspective, they're not the most exciting team to win the league. Like, sometimes I watch Arsenal, they've been great. Sometimes I watch Arsenal and been like, this is top of the league. But I don't want to dampen Arsenal's accomplishment. If Arsenal win the league, it's because they're the best team in the league. You know, you could argue, are they the best league winners ever? No. But they're the best team in the league. The lower teams are better. The higher team, the big teams aren't as good at the moment. The smaller teams are better, which means because the big teams aren't as good, the big teams are losing more games. But Arsenal being able to win the games that everyone else is losing. So, Alice, do you think if we had sacked Amarin at the start of the season, we'd be in a title race? No. Look, I think Amarin was underperforming, and I think Carrick's done amazing in one game. But to say if we sacked Amarin at the beginning of the season, how Carrick would be in a title race would be nuts. I think Carrick, I'm going to be honest, I think Carrick, when we actually judge him at the end of the season, I'd be very surprised if Carrick gets his top 4. I think Carrick's done an amazing job versus City. I like Carrick. I want him to succeed. But I do look at the miss midfield, and I think, he's done amazing versus City, but how long does he keep us up? So, look, I think we could have won games like West Ham and Everton with a different manager, for sure. And maybe we're on more points, and maybe we're comfortably in 4th. But I don't think we'd be in a title race if we started the season without Amarin. you know, I don't think we'd be in a title race. Do you think they'll bring Morgan Snyder? I hope not. It was the big six sides are boring this season. The Prem is boring. The Prem is boring this season. There's no doubt in my mind about it. Alice is hilarious and she runs for Arsenal. I hate them. They're just their fan base is just so annoying. Like City, I don't even notice them. It's Arsenal and Liverpool. That's the teams I can rant about. Guys, Anthony Gordon has gone an entire calendar year without an open play goal. Anthony Gordon has gone an entire year in the Premier League without an open play goal. Imagine the noise if that was Rashford. Imagine the media attention if that was Rashford. Just saying. Does anyone know Anthony Gordon's gone a year without an open play goal? Speculation over squad changes continue. Reports linking Neves to Manchester United. Ruben Neves would be open to a move to Manchester United. There's news coming out, but not credible. Apparently, Man United have met Mark Casado's representatives. Let's have a look at this story. There's breaking news coming out, apparently. It's not a reliable source. Let's have a look at the story. So, this is a story coming out here. People have put it in the chat. Apparently, Man United are making a move for Mark Casado. Indy Callis sometimes get things right. They sometimes don't get things right. I mean, he's 22. He's played a few games for Barcelona. He can play defensive midfield. I mean, I think he's a decent player, don't get me wrong. I'm just skeptical about the source. He's not played loads and loads of minutes. He started 2 games for Barcelona in the Champions League, but he got hooked off in the Club Brugge game. He started 4 league games for Barcelona. He's a decent player. Mark Casado, don't get me wrong, but nothing special. Who do you think they will buy for Michael Carrick? Someone that they think any manager would want, that Michael Carrick also wants. Anthony Gordon's fall off is crazy. He went from scoring against each Big Six team in 23-24 to not scoring an open play goal in a calendar year. Why don't we try for João Gomez? Considering he's 40 million, Atletico Madrid are trying for him, I'm kind of surprised we're not. Alice, we can catch Villa. We're just 8 points away with tough fixtures. Maybe we catch Villa. I'd be surprised though. Look, if we beat Arsenal and Fulham, and we win 3 games in a row, which would be Carrick already equaling Amarin's biggest achievement at this club, then we can start talking about, can we catch those teams? In my head, there's no way we're catching Villa, City and Arsenal. There's no way. Can we get top 4? We're going to figure that out. If we go and win 4 or 5 games in a row with the fixtures that the other teams have, I'm not saying we're going to win the league or be in a tie race, that'd be nuts, but I'm saying, could we push third? Do you know what I mean? There's going to be that team in third that falls down. Could we? I think Arsenal won the league. I don't see Arsenal dropping enough points. Even if we won 10 games in a row, I don't think we're going to be in the title race. Because if we beat Arsenal, we're still going to be 12 points behind them. I don't see Arsenal dropping that many points, even if we won 10 games in a row. But I think after Arsenal and after Fulham, if we win 3 games in a row and we have 3 good performances against 3 very different sides, then I start saying, okay, I'm feeling it with Michael Carrick. I'm feeling we can do something. But I can't have predictions based off the City game. We need a left back, right back, 2 midfielders and a left winger to complete the team. I don't think we need a right back because we've got Mazraoui coming back. I think we need a left back for sure. We need a left back for sure. We need 2 midfielders, maybe 3. I think probably 3 depending on exits, and a left wing. We need a top left winger, a good left back, 2 top midfielders, maybe a third midfielder for depth. Potentially looking at centre back for depth. I don't think right back is as a must if Mazraoui is going to stay fit, because I think Mazraoui in the back 4 is like a new player. And Rashford coming back, imagine the scenes. He might come back, but I don't think he will. I also don't think Rashford would want to come back. Even though Amarin's gone, I think his head's checked out. I like Matthias Mane, but I think United need Prem proven. I prefer Njai. If we're going to go for someone to play on the left, I would go for Njai. Mazraoui can play left back as well. Imagine if we think Mazraoui's coming to bench Delo, and all of a sudden we just play Mazraoui left back. Imagine we're like, oh, Mazraoui's finally coming in to bench Delo, and then we keep Delo at right back, and Mazraoui plays left back. I can't believe Thomas Frank's not been sacked. I mean, you've lost to West Ham. West Ham could have been 3-0 at half time. I cannot believe that Thomas Frank's not been sacked. I'm not going to lie to you. Nuts. Alice, Mark Guehi's on over £300,000 a week. Wow. 300k. No way. Wait. Oh my. Guys, read this. I've just found it. Guehi has signed his Man City contract over 300k a week. Over 300k a week for a centre back. What? This is some Ed Woodward level wages here. Damn. Fair play to Guehi. Fair play to Guehi. It's 300k a week for a centre back. Like, he is class, but 300k a week is nuts. That is Ed Woodward level wages there. He like for over 300. That's not. No wonder City got him. But over. But there's going to be replies like, you support Man United, you can't say anything about wages. You support Man United, you can't say anything about wages. I'm sorry. Yeah, Man United are giving out ridiculous wages, and I'll say that. Like, I said, the wages we gave Sancho was a disgrace. You know, we gave Sancho 300 grand a week. This whole, because I support Man United, I can't talk about wages other clubs give players. Yes, I can, because like when Man United give players stupid wages, I also talk about it. Do you know what I mean? That is mad. Man United wages, by the way. I'm just going to show you something. I'm going to read out the wages of our players. The only one player at Man United earns more than Guehi, and that's Casemiro. Like, for context, that's more than Bruno Fernandes. For context, Guehi is on the same wages as Bruno. Guehi is on the same wages as Bruno Fernandes. Like, that is nuts. And people are going, oh, you support Man United. Nah. Woodward, I tell you what, if Woodward was here, we would have got a Guehi on 400k a week. Bernardo's on 300k a week. People talk about our wages. How much did we give Sanchez? How much did Man United pay Sanchez? How much did we pay for Sanchez? Pay for Sanchez a week. How much did Sanchez cost? 500k a week. We actually gave Sanchez 500k a week. 500k a week. What is it about the January window? That's nuts. That is actually nuts, man. Yeah, so Casemiro is the only player at Man United who earns more than Mark Guehi, and he currently doesn't earn more than Mark Guehi because he has to give 25% of it, because he obviously has the 25% wage cut for not being in the Champions League. Just to put it into context, De Ligt's on 190k a week. Guehi makes 110k more than De Ligt every single week. Guehi earns 100 grand a week more, over 100 grand a week more than De Ligt and Maguire. That is ridiculous. That is actually nuts. Wow. I mean, it's not too bad. I think with the transfer fee being so cheap, it's not too bad, but damn. I didn't think the 300k a week rumours were true. But look, fair play to City. Fair play to City, shows the ambition, but that is nuts. Now, talking of centre-backs, let's talk about Martinez. Already, though, there was discontent among the United players over the personal nature of some of the comments from ex-players, which was clear from Martinez's angry response to Paul Scholes and Bart. Senior players have encouraged younger players not to let it affect them, while expressing frustration that pundits are ready to kick the club while it's down. I think there's a difference between constructive criticism and just absolutely unfairly going in on a player. So for the example of that, constructive criticism is criticising Dalot, because Dalot's performances have earned that criticism. Dalot giving the ball away with a counter-attack when a simple pass to Ahmed is on. If a pundit is saying, that's not good enough from Dalot, what is that pass? They need Mazraoui back from AFCON. That is constructive criticism. When a pundit, ex-player, anyone in the media starts going, Lisandro Martinez is shite, Haaland's going to just look at him and laugh, that's disrespectful. Especially when you look at the fact that Lisandro Martinez kept a clean sheet against Haaland in the FA Cup final and pocketed Haaland. If Lisandro Martinez had a few games up against Haaland and been absolutely destroyed by Haaland, Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt have a point. If Haaland had absolutely destroyed Lisandro Martinez every time they come up against each other, Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt might have a point. It would still be harsh comments to make, but they might have a point. The fact that Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt made the comments they did about Lisandro Martinez when Lisandro Martinez has actually had some really good games versus Man City made it nuts. And there's a difference between being critical of Martinez, saying, maybe I've not been super impressed with him since he's come back, but to be fair, he's just coming back from a long-term injury. Let's give him more time. I think that Martinez has been a bit hit and miss since his return from injury, but I think, he's just come back from a long injury. Let's give him a bit of time. We know he's a good player. He was man of the match with Bruno, for me, at the Manchester derby. And I don't know why. I just think that Paul Scholes takes it too far with his Martinez criticism. If he was saying, Dalot's given the ball away, Dalot's been wasteful, Dalot needs to be dropped, that's fine. But when you actually just go in on a player, it just becomes an agenda. You're literally jabbing at your own player, taking the mick. And it was said by Ian Ladyman that the feud between Scholes and Martinez at United dates back to last season, briefly when there was a meeting between the two of them to clear the air. I just think Paul Scholes was taking it too far. I'm still raging Mount's goal got ruled out. I know if it was Florian Wirtz it'd be given. Højbjerg. Why are a lot of people saying Højbjerg? I mean, I'm not against Højbjerg coming in on loan, but where's the Højbjerg rumours coming from? Where's the Højbjerg rumours coming from? Because I don't know who the player that Ben Jacobs talking about is, but where are those Højbjerg rumours coming from? Because I've not seen anything on Højbjerg. But that is nuts. Lisandro Martinez put in an unbelievable performance, and if I'm Nicky Butt, Paul Scholes, I'm apologising. I'm apologising if I'm Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt. I think they took it too far. Listen, people, I'm going to wrap up the live stream here, I think. I'm just making sure I haven't missed any news, because a couple of people keep mentioning Højbjerg in the chat, but I'm not seeing any news on Højbjerg. So I don't know if it is him. Apparently, the VAR was looking at the wrong frame when they ruled out Mount's goal, and it was actually onside. That wouldn't shock me. It looked onside. When's the lit back? That is the big mystery that everyone wants to know. I'm not doubting the fact that Maguire costs a ridiculous amount. Guehi costs 20 million, fair enough. I just think the wages are nuts. That's all. I'm not, Man United have done way more stupid things. I'm not being critical of what... Look, City have got Guehi. He's on 300k a week. I don't think he's worth 300k a week. But look, I'm not saying it in the sense of my club wouldn't do that. My club would do that. My club have done some stupid deals. I think because Guehi costs 20 million, they can get away with giving him 300k a week. But it's crazy. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, big up everyone watching. See you next time. Bye.